So you want to play live, but you can't find anybody to join your band. Well, I've got a solution for you. There's something you can do to have just as big and epic and energetic of a live show. Whether it's one musician you're missing, say a bass player or drummer, or you can't find anybody. So let's get started. We're gonna make some backing tracks for whatever band members you're missing. Backing tracks have kind of a bad stigma. Some people think that's kind of lame, but I bet it's because you haven't seen this band and how they pull it off live.
It's your turn! Let me see what you got! Can you save my soul?
This is 21 Pilots. They have not had a full band for years. They're just a duo, and sometimes the only person playing live is the drummer. Tyler Joseph just runs around with a microphone, or sometimes he plays bass, sometimes he plays guitar, but they pull it off without a full band. One time I was at a brewery and I saw a bass player come in and nobody else. He set up one of those EV tower PA systems with a sub and a sound bar and played some backing tracks through it, and that sub gave a lot of beef to the bass and kick drum. I have a new piece of equipment that I like, that I think makes it the easiest to get a mix to the sound guy, and it is this puppy, the Kemper Profiler Player. If you're a guitarist, you might want something like this that you can use to play direct, but the key is you need to be able to connect to it via Bluetooth, an aux input, or Wi-Fi, because you're gonna feed a stereo backing track to this thing. What I like about this thing is you can hook two wireless devices to it at once. You can actually hook up your phone via Bluetooth to it and run your backing tracks that way. And you can still simultaneously connect your iPad to it to control all of your guitar sounds. You can actually do this with any pedal. It doesn't have to be the Kemper, but just find something that has stereo outs and something that you can actually connect to. For instance, on this thing, you can Bluetooth to it and you can play along with Spotify. Well, you're gonna use that same method, but you're gonna be loading your own pre-mixed tracks to it. You're gonna make what's called a split track. So on the left side, on the left stereo channel, pan everything over there that you want to hear in your ears when you're on stage. You're gonna wanna hear a metronome so you can stay with your track. You're gonna wanna hear maybe a guide, like I can't always remember the order of the songs, so I put a little cheater track in there, and I'll record myself counting. Chorus, 3, 2, 1, and then it'll kind of guide you through the track. You're gonna wanna put that and the metronome all the way panned to the left. You may want to hear some of your instruments too, the drums, the bass, so put just a little bit of that in the left side. Now, in the right side of that stereo channel, you're going to want to put whatever you want to come out of the house mix. Whatever instrument you're playing, mute that instrument in your mix before you mix this track down. If you're a guitar player, mute your guitar track. If you're a drummer, mute your drum track. Mix your track down, load it onto your phone, iPad, iPod, whatever it is that you're going to send to your pedal. Now you've got two outputs here. So this left output, that's gonna be what you hear when you're on stage. So your click and everything. So what I like to do, I use a wireless monitor mix. I have a wireless Shure transmitter and a wireless pack. I hook this up to the left output on my pedal so that I can send my mix with the metronome to my in-ears. If you don't have something like this, a wireless transmitter and receiver, no problem. You can do this wired. You could get a headphone extension and a headphone adapter and just run that straight to your in-ears. You'll be wired, but it's better than nothing. Now, out of your right input, you can run this thing straight to the soundboard, or you can run it through a direct box. So out of your right output, you would run into the input of the direct box. Then you can actually send the sound guy a single XLR cable that's gonna have everything for your entire show except for the vocals on it. So you can see how easy that's gonna be for the sound guy to mix. Even if he doesn't pay much attention to you, well, all your instruments and stuff are already mixed. You can actually do the same thing with electric drum sets. I have a Roland kit back here, an electric kit, and you can actually send backing tracks to the brain, provided it has stereo outputs. Just send the left channel to your in-ears or headphones and send the right channel to the soundboard. This method is really simple as you can get. It does have a downside though. It's not stereo. So when you're mixing your backing track, you actually might need to EQ out a little bit more space for the instruments than you normally would, since you're only using one channel. You're basically trying to send all these instruments and cram them down a mono channel. So you need to make extra space for it with EQ. If you're a smaller band, this isn't going to be a big deal because most of the venues that you're playing are going to have mono systems anyways. If you do try a stereo setup, you're going to need some hardware or a mixing board so you can have multiple outputs. Because if you're in stereo, you're going to have a dedicated output for your mix, and then you're going to have 2 more outputs to send to the soundboard. However, if you choose to do that and you have a Kemper Profiler Player, one of the awesome things you can do to make your guitar sound really big and full is it has a setting where it will actually make a clone of your guitar track as you're playing, and it will tweak it so it's just a little different to make a wide stereo huge guitar sound. Now you know how to take over the world even if you're all alone in the universe.